Hello everyone, my name is Florian. I'm currently a hospitality management student in Lausanne, in Switzerland. My academic path is quite unique, so I study business management, but with a specialization on hospitality. We have a program that contains two internships, so one is operational, which I did in a hotel, and one is administrative, which I did in Rolex. I'm also passionate about finance, which is where I want to do my master, and that's also why I'm involved in the CFA program, which is a finance certification. Today, I want to share my journey with the GMAT, particularly how TTP helped me and played a pivotal role in my preparation. When it came to GMAT, I was starting from scratch. I first watched a few YouTube videos where TTP was mentioned quite a few times. And then one of my friends just took TTP and recommended it to me because it was very helpful to him. That's when I decided to dive in around mid-March of 2024. I had quite a tight schedule, juggling with schools and extracurriculars, so I managed to put around 100 hours from March to May, and then I put the last 70 hours end of June to beginning of July, because in the months of June I also had my exams. By the exam that I took the 11th of July, I had completed 68% of the TTP practice questions. And these 68% were 170 hours put on the platform. That's also already give you an idea of how much practice there are, because in 170 hours, I only did about 2/3 of the platform. My mock tests were quite a roller coaster. So my first mock was 725, my second was 685, then 665, 685, and 715, and I didn't have time to do the sixth mock. And on my exam, I scored 755 with an 88 in Quant, 85 in verbal, and 89 in data insight. So you see that I scored higher than my highest mock. The unique features of TTP that helped me were diverse. First of all, the adaptive study plan. What I found very useful is that you can just log on the platform, click on continue, and you have the exercise in the theory that you need to do. You don't need to think of, okay, what's the next chapter to make sure that you cover everything. Will I miss a chapter? Did I do everything that can be on the GMAT? First of all, they will show you everything. Every question I had on the GMAT, I felt like I've seen it before in a similar way in TTP. So the learning outcome, you will see them, all of them on TTP. And then it's very useful because you save a lot of time. You don't have to really be organized on yourself to think which chapter you need to do today. If you are on track for your exam, they do it for you. Just click on continue. You know your progress, you know all the missions. You can really organize yourself very easily. The second thing on TTP that was very useful is the extent of the correction. So here's the thing. When you will study for GMAT, you will have some questions that you feel are easy for you and some harder. When you encounter an easy subject or easy questions, you don't have to waste your time. You answer the questions and then you can continue. Maybe even sometimes some part of the theory you might skip. But whenever you end on a question that you got wrong or a theory that is harder, you will have well enough explanation for you to understand. I just felt like if you have enough time, there is no question that you won't understand. Most of the question, you even have a video correction to make sure that you really understand. So any mistake I would have done, I will just go through the correction and at the end I will understand my mistake. I think that's the most important part in our preparation program because we will all do mistakes. Mistakes are not an issue, is if you do the mistake again that it gets complicated. But with TTP, as you understand your mistake, then you most of the time don't do it again. Okay, so the key is to understand your mistake. And for this, TTP has really extensive corrections. And then the third aspect that was very useful was for the verbal. So in my view, I thought that any programs on the Quant will have the detailed correction, so I felt like you would really improve your Quant part. But I thought that the verbal part is either you get or you don't get it, but you can't change much. That's what I thought, but I was incorrect. On TTP, they will show you methodology. For each type of question in the verbal, because there is type of questions, you will have a methodology, step 1 to 5, for example. And once you learn this step by heart, once you practice these steps, then you do less and less mistakes. You recognize the typical mistake, the typical trap. They really have a great experience on the GMAT. So I could improve my verbal score by a lot more than I thought. So not only quant, but also the verbal and of course data insight aspect on GMAT that you can and you should improve. If I was to give personal advice on my own experience on the GMAT exam, I started with quant and I got stuck on 3 to 4 questions. When I did this, I still kept my focus, but I thought, okay, I will have to do it again because I was aiming for 700 plus to be in the top 1%. And I knew that if quant was supposed to be my best part, and if I got stuck on 3 to 4 questions, it wasn't starting well. But I kept my concentration and I thought, okay, I will do as best as I can. The verbal part and the data insight went much better than usual. And I ended up scoring much higher than I thought. The reason also is that it's an adaptive test, okay? So the question that I got stuck on the quant were considered as hard, probably, which means that I wasn't that much penalized, okay? So even if you get stuck on questions, if they feel hard, you won't get as much penalized if you do a stupid mistake on an easy questions, okay? So if on the exam you feel you're not getting as good as you wanted, do your best. You have nothing to lose to try your best to finish the exam. You might get a positive surprise at the end. And my conclusion and recommendation, I would say that whether you're just starting with the GMAT or you always have through the preparation, TTP can provide a very structured, a comprehensive pathway. They offer all the exercise that you need. And for me, it really helps. I recommend it to all my friends already, and I will very easily recommend the GMAT if you aim for a high score. Thank you for listening, and I wish you all the best on your journey.